Love. So many things I got to tell you, but I'm afraid I don't know how. 'Cause it's a possibility that you'll look at me differently. Woo! Crazy song. Came out 2000, about 25 years ago. Music Soul Child. You know, I got to represent Philly to the fullest. But love. Real quick, speaking of love, I want to give a shout out to, because I didn't get a chance to do it last year, my brother Malk and Nakia, my sister Nakia, getting married last year. And a couple of weeks ago, I went down to a wedding. My buddy Sammy and his wife Deborah. Really, really beautiful wedding down in Chesterfield, Virginia, next to Richmond. So shout out to them. And that goes to show that love is still possible if you're not currently in it right now. And another thing I wanted to talk about too was the importance of being married. Because even when I went down to that wedding, and you know, I'm not saying that people down south, because I don't have any statistics, all right, that say people down south get married more than people up north. But when I went to that wedding down there last week, about 99.9% of the people were married. I was like one of the only unmarried people there, which is cool because, you know, I hold it down. But it was interesting to see because I've talked about it before. You can check out one of the earlier videos, being 50 and unmarried. Now I'm 51 and unmarried. But the importance of still having somebody who you can call your mate. And I'm not just saying, you know, to get married, because once again, I've never been married, but to get married just for marriage sakes. But, you know, I've heard different people on podcasts talking about marriage and who is it for. Like I think Paul Pierce said it's for either broke people or poor people, or older people. And I mean, who knows? Because I give it to him. He's a guy that's been rich, probably is still rich, and he was married at a younger age. So, you know, I don't want to poo-poo on what he's saying. But what I do think is that a lot of times I hear now, and I was having a discussion with my homie Ty about it, and, you know, and my buddy Mike, and just talking about how, like, even on social media, how it's portrayed like nobody should ever get married anymore or anything. And what I said, what one of my responses was that a lot of times, depending on what app you're looking on, like, for instance, Instagram, a lot of times, to me, the age demographic on Instagram, it varies. It goes high, you know, but I think that primarily it's more 20s, teens, 20s, and early 30s centric. So I think Facebook to me is a platform that deals more with older adults. So I think that the narrative sometimes when people keep hearing something over and over again, because think about it, a lot of people are on the same app. A lot of people on Instagram. So a lot of people, when they hear this feedback and things like that, yeah, some people carry it over and have their channels on YouTube, but it typically starts on Instagram where people are promoting stuff. So if you have people hearing this, you would have people think that just nobody's getting married, nobody should be married, nobody, all this other kind of stuff. Well, even though I haven't been married, like I said, I was in a bad accident last year. And let me tell you why it would be good to be married. Because for one, you would have somebody to help clean you when you are down and out. And trust me, at one point in your life, before you check out of here, you're going to be down and out and you're going to need somebody. All right. The severity level depends, but you know, you're going to need somebody. And you're going to want somebody that you can trust. And also, when you don't share the last name with that person, there are certain benefits that you just don't get. You know, sometimes a person can, I was watching The Chi last weekend, and when one of the characters on it, Emmett, got shot. So he's been with his girlfriend, Keisha, and she's expecting a kid. Any minute. And so, but you know, when he woke up, came into the emergency room, he says to her, well, you know what, Keisha, marry me. And I'm glad Chi has really good writing. So they made it the way it should be. And she said, hey, listen, I want you to marry me not because you're fearful of losing me because of what just happened to you, but you want to do it because that's what you want to do, because he's been dating her on and off for years. So he had plenty of time to marry her or to offer to marry her. And I think that a lot of guys, including myself, we gotta stop making excuses as to the reason you don't want to do it, because it starts to make you look. I'm not going to say for anybody else. For me, it starts to make me feel a sense of like what am I shying away from? What is the? Now I will say this: it has to be a decent woman, but along with that, I have to be a decent enough man to say, hey, look, this is what I'm ready to do. This is what I want to do. Just because you might meet somebody, and it's happened to me before, you meet some people and you really think to yourself, oh man, she the one. You know what I mean? I'm going to let her meet my mom. I'm going to let her meet my pops. You know what I'm saying? Let her meet my auntie. I don't know. She might let her meet the homies. I don't know. She might be the one. And then you turn around and she's the none. Not as in a nun, a good nun, but none as in zero. She's out of here. So you start thinking to yourself, is love really for me? Is it a thing that eludes me because of me? Or does it elude me because, I don't know, once again, also because on me, do I have like these lofty expectations of people? Or am I, as a person who's lived 51 years, too cynical, too not trusting to be in that type of situation? I think about my cousin Kev and his wife Taisha, another beautiful wedding I went to some years ago, and they're still happily married. And I think to myself, I got plenty of examples around me that show decent, great unions. So there really is no excuse. So the thing I would ask to you, if you haven't been married, because some people, I get it, you've been married, you've been divorced, you've seen it all, you've been through it, whatever, it's done. But what I ask is how do you feel? Do you feel like it's still love out there? Do you feel like, because of course I talk a lot with different friends and everything, and also, me in the throes of dating on and off and stuff, you see a lot of different things, and it really is like training. So if you're really not out there dating, it's hard for you to really have a clear perspective, even if you are married, just to see how up and down it can be, to see how at times difficult it can be. And I'm not talking about just dating to hook up or have sex or whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm saying to really find a good connection with a person, then have that connection, then have an extended period of time with that connection, and willing to deal with other things that other people have going on. Because let's face it, by the time you get a certain age, people, they got their kids, right? Some of them, I've talked about this before, they got their adult kids. So adult kids that still live at the crib. So do you want to start feeling like a scene out of Baby Boy, where you in the house cooking and then her 18, 19-year-old son, 20-year-old son comes out and like, yo, dog, what you doing in the crib? So there's a lot of different decisions you can make, because you know how it is. None of us are going to get the quote unquote 100% perfect situation. And even as you get older, those situations tend to dwindle. Because think about it. If you're in your 20s and you get married, most likely the chances of you finding someone that doesn't have a kid and you don't have a kid, they're a lot greater. And you can kind of build that thing together, spend time together, then start having kids, and you're on your journey. But as you get older, most people already have all of this stuff. They already got their kids. They got stuff set in place. Everybody's contributing into their 401k. She feels this way. You feel that way. You don't eat pork. She eats every pork chop she can find. Who knows? There's a bunch of different things. You don't smoke weed. She smokes all the time. Her adult son only got to stay here, only pops in and stays here 2 weeks at a time when he's mad at his girl or his baby mom. Y'all out there know what I'm talking about. You know how it is. But we still got to believe in love. We still got to believe in something. But you tell me what you think. That's just how I feel. Live life. Don't let life live you.